Okay, question 9. Using an array to store a sequence of numbers. Okay, remember the nice thing about arrays is they allow us to easily process multiple pieces of data. Okay, because we can use loops and we can set variables to determine which piece of data we're looking at. If we was to do this using just variables, we'd have to write a right old messy bit of code that for each number we accept, we store it in a different variable name, which would be very difficult to then process afterwards. So we could get these numbers in this little thing. So we're just getting 6 numbers and storing them in a one-dimensional array. We could then find the smallest number. We could sort them into order if we wanted to. Not that we've looked at sorting things. We will look at those in the second year. But there are many things we can do once we've got them in an array. If we had them all as separate variables, sorting those numbers would be horrendous. Okay, so we could be getting some numbers, putting them in an array, sorting them, writing them out to a sequential file for some other task. Okay, and the array allows us to do that quite trivially once you've got used to the notation and the way that you manipulate these things. Okay, so let's look at the pseudocode again. So we want 6 numbers, so we're going to create a loop that happens 1 to 6. And we're going to use that position, that control variable, to directly specify which location in the array we want to store a piece of data. So let's just delete that. We use the input command in pseudocode to say we've got some input, and we're saying store, using the equals, at this position. So if we had an array looking like this, it's going to be a bit rough. It's going to have 6 locations. Okay, that's going to be location 1. That's location 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first time around this loop, whatever we enter is going to go here. So if I put like 10, I type 10 at the keyboard, it goes at that position. Position then goes up by 1 because next increments it, remember. So let's say I enter the number 7, it will get stored at position 2, and so on and so on and so on. The Python version is exactly the same. Before I start, I've just recreated an array, so just to give you the example again. Bearing in mind again that Python starts at 0, so the first position in Python is there, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when we use range, that gives us 6 values starting at 0 by default. So we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we do the same thing. We have to convert it into a number using the int function. Okay, but we use the input function to get something from the keyboard. Not checking, it could be a load of old baloney and it could crash the program, but we're just assuming that the user's generating numbers. Okay, and it's the same structure. You've got for loop, and we're using the control value to specify what location in the array we're referring to. Okay, so remember you use the name and a position value to specify what location we're addressing. And that's it, nice and simple.